Welcome back to the Roundtable. I'm Sarah LeDuc. LeBron James was just the hero that Cleveland needed. One of the greatest NBA players to ever hit the court, his influence on the whole city loomed large for the dozen years of his reign. Pulitzer Prize finalist Rajiv Joseph's comedic and emotional new play chronicles the unexpected friendship between two men whose intertwined fortunes are tied to those of their idol. King James is having its New York City premiere as Manhattan Theatre Club presents Steppenwolf Theatre Company and Center Theatre Group's production off-Broadway at City Center. The show is directed by Tony Award winner Kenny Leon. Glenn Davis joins us to talk about the play. He's an accomplished actor, producer, and current co-artistic director at Steppenwolf Theatre in Chicago. He's also an artistic associate at the Young Vic Theatre in London and at the Vineyard Theatre in New York. He starred with Robin Williams and Rajiv Joseph's Bengal Tiger at the Baghdad Zoo on Broadway in 2011. Glenn Davis, welcome to the Roundtable.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
I'm really excited to hear about your work in King James, and the role you're playing was written for you. Tell me how that happened, how you've worked before with the playwright Rajiv Joseph, etc., please.
So this play is a play that came to fruition because Rajiv, who is a frequent collaborator of mine and one of my closest friends, he had been saying that he wanted to write a play of what having to do with sports. He'd written a movie called Draft Day about the Cleveland football team, professional football team, having the first pick in the NFL draft. So he wrote that some years ago. And he and I had initially met doing a play called Bengal Tiger at the Baghdad Zoo. We'd done it several times back in 2009, 2010, and then again in 2011 on Broadway with Robin Williams. And so each iteration of that play, he and I, during our breaks, whether it was dinner break or just a 10-minute break, we would go watch basketball games. So we would go watch the Cleveland Cavaliers at some point and LeBron James were in the NBA Finals one of those years. And we began this conversation around the greatness of LeBron. And, you know, I'm originally from Chicago. He is from Cleveland. So we had the natural conversation of, even back then, LeBron versus Michael Jordan in terms of legacy and what they brought to the game and skill set and all the things. Years later, I would become artistic director at Steppenwolf Theatre in Chicago, which is one of our great theaters in this country. When I did, I wanted to commission Rajiv to write a play, a two-person play for myself and another actor. I said, hey, man, you can write about anything. We just want to see what you'd be interested in. And he said, give me a couple months. He came back to me. He called me one day. He said, I got the play. I think it's called King James, and it's about LeBron. And I said immediately, I am in. Let's do it. And so he wrote this play about these two guys and their reverence for LeBron James, and their having come together as friends initially over their mutual adoration for this sort of godlike figure in their life, this deity, as he was coming out of high school, going into the NBA, and the promise that he represented in bringing to Cleveland their first championship in 52 years. So I said, I love it. We did it at Steppenwolf initially. We commissioned him to write it. We presented it. It was well received. We did it in Los Angeles at the Mark Taper Forum. It was actually a co-commission and co-production with the Center Theatre Group. And then we've now brought it to New York, and we're going to do it with Manhattan Theatre Club, who has graciously agreed to present this work to New York audiences. So that's how it initially came to be.
How did you guys choose to or approach Kenny Leon to direct? It's his first time directing at Steppenwolf. Did you know him before, or how did he come to direct the piece?
Yeah, so I did not know Kenny before. Kenny and I have a mutual friend who I reached out to when I was first trying to figure out who would be the right person to direct this play. It's a wonderful writer named Marcus Gardley, exceptional in his own right. But I said, I need to find the right person for this play. He says to me, what's the play about? And I told him a little bit about it. He goes, you need Kenny Leon. I said, really? He goes, absolutely. That's the only person that can direct this play. He said, Kenny's a lifelong Lakers fan. You and he would get along great. I think he would respond to this play. And Rajiv's a brilliant writer. So I think you should call Kenny. I said, well, I don't know Kenny. He goes, don't worry about it. I'll connect you two. And that's what he did. He connected Kenny and I and we had a conversation over the phone, then another one over Zoom, and Kenny, in short order, agreed to do this play. He loved it, as we did.
Your co-star is Chris Perfetti. When did Chris become attached to the project? When did you guys start working with him?
I had brought this play to the previous artistic director, Anna DiShapiro, the wonderful director, and she said, "Well, who would you want to play opposite you?" And I said, "Well, I saw this wonderful actor named Christopher Perfetti. I'd seen him in a play by Bruce Norris called The Low Road at the Public Theater. It's probably like 5 years now, maybe more. And I thought he was fantastic. And I thought I would love to work with that guy one day. And the part that Rajiv was writing it just seemed like it fit right in Chris's wheelhouse. And so I told Anna, I said, "Hey, I would love it if we can offer it to Chris." And so that's what we did. We offered it to Chris, and Chris read it and got back to us very quickly. And that was the only thing I'd ever seen him in, but I thought he was fantastic. I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, we did that, and then lo and behold, Chris becomes a TV star through Abbott Elementary. So he's I'm so happy for him and all the success he's had. He is hilarious on that show. He's hilarious in King James. He's just a wonderful, wonderful actor. I couldn't have asked for a better scene partner. I feel lucky.
Tell me more about your character, how they're different or similar to you. What are some of the particular acting challenges or enjoyments that you've gotten to perform in this piece?
Well, I'll tell you some of the differences first. I think that he is someone who is less emotionally evolved than myself. At least I would hope, based on the way he's written. Rajiv talked about the reason he wrote this play. And he says that I wrote this play because I wanted to explore fandom, what it is or means to be a fanatic of a team, a sports team or franchise. And he said I wanted to also explore male friendship. I often call this play a love story, a platonic love story between two men that have nothing in common except for their mutual adoration for a single individual figure in LeBron James. And that's the initial impulse that brings them together. And then they have to do the work to keep the friendship alive, to see beyond sports, basketball, to, what do they actually like about one another and why are they friends? I think that one of the things about Sean is that he doesn't have much of a life outside of sports and then his friendship with Matt, who Chris plays. He is a loner, doesn't have a strong relationship with his family. He has really one ambition, and that's to be a writer. And so he's singular in that way. And again, it's not that emotionally intelligent or self-involved. He's a spirited guy, and he's a guy, he's a dude,
Right.
A lot of my friends come see this play and they're like, "Yo, I got a chance to watch two bros on stage in theater, and I just never get to do that. You just never get to explore sort of bro culture in the theater space." And so, these are really two guys who just love their Cleveland Cavaliers, love their sports franchises, drink beers, hang in the bar, talk, shoot the shit. Like this is the nature of their relationship. So I think in that way he's pretty simple. Some ways that we are similar in that we both have a deep desire to be an artist. He a writer, me an actor, obviously. He wants something bigger than himself. He wants to venture to Los Angeles to begin a writing career. I live in Los Angeles. He is a sneakerhead. He loves Jordans and sneakers, and I'm also a big sneakerhead. Sneaker culture is a big part of my life. And he has ambitions and he has desires that he's going after. They may be singular in a way that mine aren't. I'll also say he's charismatic. He's a fun guy and loves to have a good time. Loves to be with his friends. Loves to watch the games.
You have mentioned your artistic director at Steppenwolf. You've also fairly recently co-founded with Terrell Avon McCraney a production company called Chatham Grove, and you are a part of a collective of artists called Cast Iron Entertainment. How do you have time to do all of these things? How do you balance them? And what does each project fulfill for you? Or are you hoping to fulfill with these projects?
Each entity that I'm involved in satisfies a different need in my artistic life. So I'll just go through those that you named very quickly. Steppenwolf is where I got my start as an actor. I took my first acting class with Steppenwolf over 20 years ago with Austin Pendleton, who is one of my great mentors over the course of my career. And then I became an ensemble member of that theater back in 2017 and artistic director in 2021. So that's a huge part of my artistic life. And I've always thought of Steppenwolf as my artistic home. So to be leading in this moment is sort of full circle for me and hugely satisfying. And then Terrell Alvin McCraney, who you mentioned, is my best friend and closest collaborator over the last 20 years. He and I went to drama school together and have been best friends since then. And every project that we've worked on, the other has had some hand in it to some degree. And we founded Chatham Grove. It's a combination of where I'm from and he's from. I'm from the Chatham neighborhood in Chicago, and he's from Coconut Grove in Miami, Florida. And so we started this company to begin to tell stories in television and film about people who look like us, sound like us, or some iteration of the type of experience that we sort of want to present to the world about Black and Brown people who are many times marginalized by mainstream culture, and we just don't get to see those stories that often. So that is something that is near and dear to me, and we are currently in an overall deal at Universal, and so we've been developing TV series and films. And then I have a collective that I'm a part of called Cast Iron that is with myself, Terrell Alvin McCraney, who's also a member at Steppenwolf, John Michael Hill, who's also a member at Steppenwolf, and then Andre Holland, Sterling K. Brown, and Brian Tyree Henry. And the six of us have known each other for years now. We all got to know each other either in drama school or just after drama school. And we all were starting out our careers in New York as actors, as theater actors, and sort of came up through the ranks together, and now separately have found success in different ways to different degrees, and decided to form a collective that we could come back to with regularity and produce television, film, and theater. Sometimes we're in them, sometimes we produce them for other individuals to star in, but it was very important to us to come together in our way of giving back and figuring out a way to make sure that when our careers take us all these different places, that we have that sort of we always have that nucleus to come back to say, hey, I want to do a play. Terrell, can you write one? Hey, I want to do a TV show. Hey, Dre, do you want to do something? So we figured it out.
It is an outrageous amount of talent in one group, present company included, of course. Thank you very much for speaking with me today, and break legs with King James at Manhattan Theatre Club.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Glenn Davis stars with Chris Perfetti and Rajiv Joseph's King James, directed by Kenny Leon. Manhattan Theatre Club presents Steppenwolf Theatre Company and Center Theatre Group's King James off-Broadway at City Center. To learn more, visit manhattantheatreclub.com. I'm Sarah LeDuc, and you're listening to The